to the 2010 election road trip. I'm Carol Park, your moderator for this forum, and we thank you for participating in this inaugural event sponsored by the Press Enterprise, the Beaumont Cherry Valley Recreation and Park District, and Mount San Jacinto College. We are conducting 25 forums around western Riverside County. Today, we're here in Riverside, tomorrow in San Jacinto. Thursday and Friday, we will be in Menifee. All of these forums will be streamed live on the internet here on pe.com and on ustream.tv. The videos can also be viewed on demand at pe.com on our political road trip website. This is our fifth forum of the day, and we spend the next hour discussing the race for the Moreno Valley Unified School District Board of Trustees. Moreno Valley Unified is a large district and serves a diverse population of students. The district has more than 30 schools, including 4 comprehensive high schools. Let's take a moment to meet the 8 candidates for the 3 seats on the board. To my immediate right is Mike Rios, an embezzlement fraud investigator. Is this Arlene? And who is being seated right now is Arlen H. Nope, excuse me. Excuse me, and Arlen H. Gaynor, a school assistant principal who is not in attendance today, Victoria Baca, an incumbent who is also not in attendance today, and Cleveland C.J. Johnson, a church board member who is here today, and Oscar Valdepena, a parent, businessman, and CEO, and George Showells, a local business president who is also not here today, and Jackie Ash, a counselor and school trustee. And at the very end over there is Jesus Holguin, a member of the district board. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Once again, there are 3 seats on this board with Victoria Baca, Jackie Ash, and Jesus Holguin, all seeking re-election. Let's take a moment to provide an opening statement. And Mike, why don't we start with you?
My name is Mike Rios, and I'm running for Moreno Valley School Board District. I lived in the city of Moreno Valley since 2003. I'm 40 years old. I have 2 children that currently attend the school district, one in high school and one in elementary. My background is a fraud, embezzlement, theft investigator. I've been doing that for now about 23 years. And with my background, I believe it's a huge asset with what we have going on, like in the city of Bell and other cities that will probably be coming out soon. I know how to look at paperwork. I know how to check for things that are being funds misappropriated, and I'll get to the bottom of any misuse of funds with the district. And if people are taking that they're not supposed to be taking and doing things illegally, I'll make everything sure and possible that they get incarcerated and go to jail. Our children need to be taken seriously with their education. They're our future. They are and our teachers are their mentors. And unfortunately, at times, it seems like the children are neglected, and the teachers are neglected as well. And the teachers need all the resources possible to get all the academics in the classrooms and to make our children successful. I don't want our children to be dropouts, and we have to change that around. The district needs a lot of help, and I have new vision, I'm new blood, and I'm going to change the district. That's exactly what I intend to do. Thank you.
Next is Cleveland C.J. Johnson.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank Press Enterprise for inviting us, and also those that are sitting in the audience today and those that are going to be watching later on. I've been a resident of Moreno Valley for 32 years and have raised 3 adult children, 2 boys and a daughter, who all attended Moreno Valley High and are college graduates. Our schools and our children have always been our greatest assets. I vow to support their safety while ensuring a cohesive environment where teachers and staff can educate and have adequate resources for their students. I promise to assist in improving students' API and AYP test scores so that they are competitive while closing the achievement gap. I have a BA in sociology and am a retired Vietnam airman. I will be bringing to the board discipline, honor, integrity, and moral values. That experience, coupled with the years of experience as a PepsiCo manager and businessman, made me an expert in training, empowerment, and improving business results. I will utilize those successful skills to improve relationships between the Moreno Valley Unified School Board and the citizens of Moreno Valley. As an active church board member for over 23 years, I have a large range of experience working with trends and balancing budgets. I guarantee to serve our children, teachers, and citizens well in making our school district one that anyone would want their children to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. And Oscar Valdepena.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Thank you for inviting us, fellow candidates. Nice to see you here. My name is Oscar Valdepena. I've been a resident for over 15 years in Moreno Valley, and I've actually been involved for over 7 years with the educational system. In that involvement, I have been involved with not just reading in the classrooms, but participating in teaching kids how to grow a garden, how to recycle, how to be active participants in the community. I've also, through the school district, been part of many grants to help place children at job sites, how to educate them on building resumes, how to educate them on how to dress. Not just in one aspect of education, but if you're going to be involved in education, as I feel, you need to go through everything. I have volunteered and participated from elementary, from kindergarten, from middle school, from high school, from continuation school to special education school. I have been involved in every aspect and see the needs that are needed out there and what we are missing. There are some great programs out there that we really need to bring forward to the community to let them know how proud we are of what is happening in our district. We need to take that negative and take it back to bring it to the positive. We have a lot of children in our community who are being neglected from the homes, the families are dropping them off. The biggest thing that I like to say is that this is a public school system. It is not a public daycare system. And when I am on that board, I'm going to make sure that we're building that bridge and securing it. Our bridge is falling apart right now. We need to make that bridge strong. We need to make sure that the teachers, the administrators, the parents, the students, they're all on the same page, because right now, I'll be honest, they're not. And when I am on that board, I'm going to work diligently to make sure that we have that road to success for everyone involved. Thank you.
And next is Jackie Ash.
Good evening, and thank you, Press Enterprise, and welcome guests and extinguished members of the board and people running for the board. I greatly appreciate this honor. I am Jackie Ash. I am a counselor. I have a bachelor's degree also in political science and public administration. I have been a resident of Moreno Valley for 25 years, and I have been with those kids that everyone's talking about for the past 25 years. And we have to ensure that our kids get the best education that we can provide. Therefore, it is our responsibility as a community to make that determination and not only talk about it, but to actually do it. And I have been in some of the places that our students hang out to try to talk to them and get them back in school. At some of the high schools, we do have the extra credit programs, which ensure that some of those students who have lost their way and have somehow got back into the system make up their credit through those extra credit programs. I will continue as your board member for 16 years to ensure the best education that our system, our educational system, can provide. And once again, I'd like to thank you very much.
And Jesus Holguin.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Jesus Holguin, and I'm currently serving as the president of the Moreno Valley Unified School District Governing Board. And I have served for 2 terms for the last 8 years. And I'm looking for the opportunity to continue serving my community, continue serving the children, the students in the Moreno Valley Unified School District. I have been living in Moreno Valley for 25 years, and for the same time I have been working for the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools office, the majority of those years in the business department. I have a good understanding of the financial system and the school finance and how the money comes to the school district and how the reporting, the financial reporting takes place for all school districts. So that helps me and helps me bring that knowledge to my board and when it is time to review the financial reports and the budget and everything related to finance. At the same time, I have been very active in the community. For the last 15 years, I have been part of several parent committees at the school level and at the district level, all the way from school site council, English learners, GATE, and booster clubs, PTA, and several other committees within the school district at the site and district level. I'm also active in the community in other organizations, and I always I'm careful to select the organizations where I am a member, because what I want to do is do the work that benefits the students and the children in our community. One of the things that I like to do is continue fighting for adequate funding for schools, for the educational system. And in my position as a representative for Riverside County School Boards, I'm willing to go to Sacramento and continue talking and working with the legislators at the state level so that we can get more funding for that. Also, I'm representing all the board members in the Riverside County area as a director for the California School Boards Association. I'm proud to be part of that group, and we'll continue fighting for legislation that benefit the education of our children. Thank you.
Candidates, thank you for those opening statements. Now let's move on to the question and answer session of our forum. We have a series of questions provided by the staff of the Press Enterprise and readers. You will have 1 minute to respond to each question. Alan Hooper is our timekeeper and will notify you when you've reached 30 seconds and when time is up. We have randomly drawn our order, and no candidate will answer a question first for consecutive questions. With that, we move on to the question and answer session, and our first question goes to CJ Johnson. What would you add to the school board?
I'm sorry. Well, one of the things that I would add, I'm sorry, thank you. One of the things that I would add to the school board is one of the things that I've already mentioned, and that is togetherness. I have built teams together over the years, and I feel that I could do the same thing here. In addition to that, I do bring the integrity that I have, and I believe that integrity can rub off on everyone. Not that they don't have it already, but if it's on me, I'm sure it'll resonate through everyone else. Discipline. I'm very disciplined. Being in the military, I learned that, and I have not forgotten it. And I have moral values. Those moral values will also be a part of our board. I believe that as a leadership team, if you have those values and you have those strong characteristics, you'll be a strong board.
Thank you. And Mike Rios, if elected, what would you add to the school board?
One, I will bring new vision, new ideas, new blood to the board, a candidate that's not bought and paid for, a candidate that doesn't answer to the unions, to developers, to anybody else but the people of Moreno Valley, and especially our children. Our children are the biggest assets that we must focus on for their future. I will not allow our children to be ignored anymore. It's ridiculous what's going on with our kids, and we have to put them top priority, our teachers, and then unions after, not unions first. That's what I bring to the table.
And Oscar Valdepena, what would you add to the school board if elected?
What I would add is integrity and honesty. The biggest thing that I think I would bring to the board is being able to be bipartisan and make decisions based on fact, not on personal feelings, not on other agendas. We have to decide what is right, and I will make sure that when I'm sitting on that board, that every decision that is made, I will make the decision based on the facts, based on what needs to be done. I will also bring to the board an avenue for all, as I said before, to come together and have discussions and to be able to work together on what the problems are. I will bring to the board some big credibility that everybody's going to say that this is what we've been looking for. It's a long road. This is the beginning. Hopefully, and when I am on that board, I will bring happiness and a great thing to the school board.
Right. And a slightly different question for our incumbents. The first one is going to go to Jackie. And why are you running for re-election?
I'm running for re-election because, number one, I truly do care about the children and the kids of our school district. And number two, I also have a vision. And I have a vision that we can continue to provide the educational services for our kids. And as one of our people running mentioned, we all need to come together with that same vision, because our kids are counting on us as school representatives. We bring in the laws. We go to Sacramento And we do bring in a vision, but our vision needs to be for the future. We need to continue teaching them math, science, technology, and those things that will bring us up from where we are now. And that is why I'm continuing to run for school board.
Thank you. And Jesus, why are you running for re-election?
I've been serving on the Board of Education for 8 years, and I want to continue being part of the team that is going to make the difference in the life of these children and students in Moreno Valley. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of things to work on and focus on in reducing the dropout rate and increasing the graduation rate, and to providing every student the opportunity to be successful in the future. And I want to be part, I want to continue serving in that capacity. I want to, with my involvement in other organizations in the community, I want to be able to make the connection with other organizations and bring them into the system so that we all together work for the same purpose, and that is for providing the best educational services to our students as we can. And also, I'm willing to continue fighting at the state level so that we get the legislation and the funding that we need for providing better educational service to our students in our community. Thank you.
All right. And moving on to question 2. This one is going to be started off by Oscar. Oscar, if elected to the board, what will be your first priorities on the school board?
Well, we all know that my first priority will have to be budget. We're not sure what's going to happen. We know that they're meeting this Thursday in Sacramento, and we know how that's probably going to go. But it's to get a review of exactly what and how the budget is being approached, and what departments, what vendors, and to figure out in the group discussion, if possible, where can we go to really the cuts are needed without cutting drastic programs. Teachers are important, programs are important, but when you don't have money, that's the biggest thing you need to look at. The other thing that I like to make sure that I work on is the discussion panel, what is really the disconnect with the communication between administrators, teachers, and parents. We need to get them all back on the same track. That is one of the main reasons why some of this situation we're in right now, there's no dialogue, there's no communication.
And Jesus, a slightly different question. As a member of the school board, what are your first priorities?
Well, of course, we need to continue working on reducing the dropout rate, increasing the graduation rate. We also need to continue looking at our safety systems at all the sites, all the schools, and the district office. We also need to make sure that the budget is balanced. And one thing that we need to work aligned with the state, and hopefully the state will adopt the budget very soon so that we can continue working on our numbers and have the balanced budget that we need to continue the operation of the school district. And also, we need to bring the parent component. It's a very important component in the educational process. We need to bring all the parents to work with us in the process, and also other community organizations that can provide a lot of resources that are needed in the school district. We need to continue working on reducing the achievement gap. It's important to help the students to have all those opportunities and all the opportunities that they can have so that they can be successful in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mike, if elected, what would be your first priorities on the school board?
My first priority would get as much funds as possible into our classrooms. Also, how can I accomplish that? Well, control wasteful spending. I'll check all the books, check all the balances, make sure that all the money is spent wisely, make sure that no money is being stolen, and try to save in each and every aspect with the budget. Where's the money going? There's a lot of vendors that are probably overcharging us, and we're paying more than what we should be paying. They could be friends of friends of friends, and I'm going to end all that friendship because I don't play those games. Our kids are first. We can worry about politics later. Politics should play the last role in our kids' lives, and that's what I'm going to do, get that money into our classrooms, period. Thank you.
And Jackie, as a member of the school board, what are your first priorities?
My first priorities are the students. Having them to raise the achievement gap is one thing, but having them to attend school is another. And our dropout rate is very high. Therefore, we must concentrate on community efforts. We must work in concert with our community. That means our school staff, our business leaders, educators, and other parts of our community. All of us play an important role in seeing that our children stay in school. And that is my main focus. The budget is important, but students are important too. And as if people don't know this, if our students are not here, we don't get the ADA for them. Therefore, we need more outreach, liaisons to the community to find out what some of those issues are with our students and to reach out to them and bring them back into our school system and educate them accordingly.
Thank you. And CJ, if elected to the board, what would be your first priorities?
Well, for the last 2 months, I have been walking precincts, and I've met and talked with a lot of families. And one of the things that I found out is that their top priority is safety. And we've mentioned that earlier, but safety, when children leave home, they're out to go to school and learn, be educated, and have fun at it. They shouldn't be going to school, in some cases, where they are interrupted by some things that may happen in the school system that are deterrent from them doing their schoolwork. So that would be the first thing that I would work on, the safety of our students and the safety of our teachers.
And moving on to question 3, we're going to start with Jesus. And being a public servant requires a lot of time. How have you balanced work, family, and other obligations with that of being on the school board?
Well, being on the school board has given me the opportunity to get out and get to really know my community. I've been visiting schools, I've been participating in many community events, and also I have very well supported by my family. And one of the things that I found over the years is that when I bring my family to volunteer with me, we are still connected, and at the same time we are contributing to the community. So I'm always having my daughters with me, my wife with me, and we try to participate as much as we can in all the different events. But it's a matter of really scheduling your activities, scheduling all the things that you need to be part of, and always prioritizing whatever is related to education first, and then whatever else is related to the youth and the children in the community, and all the other activities or events will come after. But we need to be involved in the community.
And Jackie, same question.
How would I balance my time?
Yes.
I am retired, thank you. And since I've been in Moreno Valley, I have worked diligently, and not many people know this, but I am a youth counselor certified by the state and retired peace officer. I worked at Chino. Since I know about youth and things that go on, I have dedicated my 25 years in my community to my youth. And being retired helps me out a lot. I've been involved in various city organizations just to get to know my community and the students. So it's not a problem for me. I take this, it gives me an intrinsic purpose for life. I take this as an honor to serve all the kids of Moreno Valley, not just a few. So, thank you.
Okay. And CJ, the question is pretty much the same but slightly altered. Being a public servant requires a lot of time. How would you balance work, family, and other obligations if elected to the school board?
Well, that's not a new thing for me. About 8 years ago, our company started a new program that was called Work-Life Balance. We made people start doing things with the family, and now it's just automatic. So what that means is I've already started doing that. I retired 2 years ago, and I stayed home with my wife and my kids. So now I asked her, could I go back to work? So I am back to work now. And how would I balance it? I would make sure that I still took care of my wife and my family at home, but then I would still, honor my duties on the board and with the citizens of Moreno Valley.
And Mike, same question.
Well, unfortunately, I'm far away from being in retirement, so what I can say is that we already do that between me and my wife. She works days, I work evenings. We like to take care of our children ourselves and raise them up ourselves, and with all the things going on with babysitters, we just don't want to take any chance. And I when I entered politics, my heart is for Moreno Valley. It's always been, and I will put Moreno Valley first before anything else. And my family, they're behind me 100%, and without them, I wouldn't even be here today. Thank you.
And Oscar, same question.
Well, I guess I'd have to check with my boss, my wife, and when I'm available. But we have, before I decided to run for school board, I did talk to my wife and let her know the commitment that was there. And I did commit that as busy as I am, and I do a lot of things right now, is that I make time for my family and for my wife. And when we are planned to do something, I make sure that nothing gets in the way of that commitment. Just this last weekend, there was a lot of things going on with this campaigning, and people wanted to meet with me on Sunday, and I said, I cannot do that. I got family time, and we're going to the fair. And it's setting your priorities right. And as busy as I am, I do make time when I get home. My boys are twin boys, and they're just started kindergarten. It's very important for me to spend that time at an evening, even to read a book or something like that, and that is my commitment. So it's balancing it, and it's working with your spouse or significant other to make sure you're on the same page, and whatever you have to do in public or anything like that, you make sure they're aware of it, because that's what helps get me along. So I've done it before, and I could continue to do it. Thank you.
Okay. And moving on to question 4. The school district has many schools on improvement programs. What would you look for in a superintendent to help fix that situation? And Jackie, we'll start with you.
We have many schools, yes, which is very unfortunate. I look for a superintendent with integrity, honesty, and above all, one who really cares about our students, who has the time to reach out. And our current interim superintendent is a role model in my opinion. I apologize. Our current superintendent is a role model. Honesty, integrity, and reaching out to the community. Those are the things that I look for in a superintendent. Thank you.
Okay. And Oscar, the school district has many schools and improvement programs. What would you look for in a superintendent to help fix that situation?
We need a superintendent that's going to be active and involved. We need to have a superintendent that is dedicated to our school system, that is dedicated to listening to all the questions that come through the district that involve with what's happening in the schools. You cannot fix a problem if you're not aware of the problem. And if you're not aware of the problem, it's going to get worse. And the best thing to do is to let people know that you are out there and you're willing to listen. The most important thing for a superintendent is listening. I keep saying communication. You can see the pattern here. That's what we need. We've had it in the past. We've kind of lost track. Now we need to get back on board. So we need somebody that can really speak up to and have a voice and not be afraid to say what is on their mind.
And Jesus.
Well, we need a leader in the district, somebody who really understands the curriculum, who understands the budget, and who understands how to manage people. The human resources is a very integral part of the whole system. But the superintendent needs to know how to handle people, how to put them in the right place, and then how to manage the systems and the curriculum. The curriculum has to be one that is accepted by all, and of course, within the lines of the State Department of Education and all those different agencies that regulate education. But the superintendent has to be the leader that brings the teams together and apply the curriculum and apply all the different educational systems so that every student benefits from that curriculum and that system. And also, the superintendent has to be a leader that brings not only within the school district, but also the community. He or she needs to be familiar with the community, needs to understand the needs of the students, regardless of what the student looks like. He or she needs to understand every need of the student and be able to provide for those needs.
CJ?
A superintendent should be an ambassador. We have a large city in Moreno Valley, and it's growing. We should be out there talking with the business people to see what they could do to help us with education. I know we've probably already done that, but there's more that can be done. In addition to that, I would like to see the superintendent even visit schools, even sometimes unannounced. When you do that, you're letting them know that you really care. Now, we know they care, but visiting will show them that you do care. Also, the budget. We need a person who knows and understands the budget and able to communicate that with us, the board members. Thank you.
And Mike?
A superintendent should be an ambassador. We have a large city in Moreno Valley, and it's growing. We should be out there talking with the business people to see what they could do to help us with education. I know we've probably already done that, but there's more that can be done. In addition to that, I would like to see the superintendent even visit schools, even sometimes unannounced. When you do that, you're letting them know that you really care. Now, we know they care, but visiting will show them that you do care. Also, the budget. We need a person who knows and understands the budget and able to communicate that with us, the board members. Thank you.
A superintendent needs to know the needs of all the children within the district, the needs of the teachers, the needs of the administration, and be a fierce leader and make sure that everything's running well instead of worrying how much they're making a year. If they're worrying about how much they're making a year, then they really don't care about what's going on within the district. We need somebody who cares what's going on. We need somebody that is active out there, that is talking to parents, that is talking to students, that is talking to administration, that is talking to everybody that he can absorb as much information so he can put these ideas in place to help our schools prosper, and we can be one of the most leading unified school districts if we have the right people running. Thanks.
Okay. Moving on to question 5. In the wake of the abduction and murder of Valley View High student Norma Lopez, many parents were concerned about safety. How would you improve student safety? And that one's going to be started off by Oscar.
That's a question that's been going on in the community right now, and we actually do have a lot of great safety features in the city of Moreno Valley, but I think it's educating our youth and how to be responsive and how to recognize the threat and how to communicate to others what they are doing. It's unfortunate this individual walked away from others and was left alone, but we need to reiterate to the youth that when you're alone, you're never safe, because it's not the community it's bad, it's the bad people that are bad, and we need to remember that. And there are people out there that are trying to fix it, and they're turning it around. Education on being vigilant, on being observant, and even if you report something, we need to educate them. It's okay if you're wrong, but at least you reported something and at least prevented something from maybe happening.
And Jackie, what have you done to help improve student safety?
During or after this?
In the wake of the abduction and murder, yes.
I've talked to many students, and as was mentioned, talk to them about being vigilant. Also, and be aware of their surroundings at all times. I talked to the superintendent about holding assemblies on safety, which was followed through. All of us are responsible for the safety of our students, and I even went out myself patrolling the area, just to let students know that there was an adult and a board member riding around just looking out for their welfare. So I believe that saying it takes a whole village, it does really take an entire community. We are all concerned. And another thing I'd like to add is it wouldn't hurt us to invest at some point in time in cameras. And a lot of people are turned off about the idea, but I think the time has come when we need to at least provide cameras in the perimeters of our schools, especially our high schools. Thank you.
And Jesus, in the wake of the abduction and murder of Valley View High student Norma Lopez, what have you done to help improve student safety?
Right after that event, we had the opportunity to talk to the chief of police and many other officers and trying to find out what is it that they were doing to solve the case and to find the guilty person for this. And also try to understand what is it that was missing at that school that may be missing at other schools that we need to work, and maybe we need to revise or review our policies and reinforce our policies so that every school has the safety parameters that they need so that students are safe right after the school. But we also talked to several other organizations within the city that were very interested in getting involved in the process and told them that we need the help in the schools. We need the help around the schools, after school, and maybe even during the day, so that they can volunteer their time and keep an eye on the students and keep an eye on strangers walking into the campuses. And we want to make sure that those safety parameters are in place without interfering with the educational system. But we want to make sure it doesn't happen only within the next 2 weeks, but permanently.
Thank you. And Mike, what would you do to help improve student safety?
That tragedy, in my opinion, could have been avoided. That summer school, they didn't have officers patrolling as they do during regular school time. The city needs to work more closely with the school district. Right now, they're just separated. They're their own entities instead of being together and figuring out what's best for the community and our children. Our children, like I said before, are our major asset. And We have to enforce the buddy system. I've driven out at night putting some of my campaign signs at 10 at night, 11 at night, and I'm seeing young girls walking the streets by themselves. The parents need to get in touch with the school district. This is a team effort. I mean, the school administration isn't out at night, so the parents need to get involved as well. And that way we can save a life from losing a tragic like we did this time. Thank you.
And CJ.
I have a plan that I've discussed with the people when I walk precincts. I'm retired. I've been retired for 2 years doing nothing except hanging out in my garage. How many people do we think are just like me? Retired grandfathers, retired grandmothers, aunts, uncles. What I would like to do is find out how many people we could gather together and station, well, first of all, train them, and then station them at our schools at certain hours. I've driven through the city and I have seen cars parked at schools. Many of the cars that are parked are parents, but some of the cars are not. We don't know that. But if we had this team of people walking up to a driver who's sitting in his car and ask, is that your child that you're waiting for, or what's the name? And we'll check the roll. Then, if the person is waiting for a child, they can then leave. If not, I mean, they will leave. If not, then we could turn them into the authorities.
And moving on to question 6. During these challenging economic times, many school districts have had to make difficult cuts. If you had to make tough financial decisions, what cuts would you make? And we'll start off with Jesus.
Well, as you know, the Moreno Valley Unified School District has gone through very difficult times, just like any other district in the state. Within the last 2 years, the district has had to make cuts for about $62 million. And those, it went to eliminating several programs and several positions in the school district, but the Board of Education was committed to keeping the dollars as close to the classroom or within the classroom as much as possible. And you know, it's difficult to continue working when the state doesn't have a budget itself. So we need to continue working with the state so they have their budget, and then we can work in our own budget. But all the cuts and all the elimination of the positions that were taking place because of the budget reductions, the Board of Education is still trying to work out to find a way to bring back all those positions that were, all those people that were laid off, and trying to bring the system back to a good standing, but always continue providing the good educational services.
Thank you. And Jackie.
Yes, as was mentioned, $62 million is a lot of money. I have advocated looking at some of the expenditures that we have. There are a lot of consultants we hire. There are not necessarily programs, but the expenditures that I personally added up within our own budget came out to $3.2 million, which is not a lot of money when you look at the $62 million, but it's like your own budget. You know, sometimes you rob Peter to pay Paul, and you know, you may cut out certain things that you normally eat and buy other things to substitute. Layoffs aren't my big thing, so we've had to go to furlough days, which are working, by the way. I don't advocate furlough days in lieu of student days. And if we have to go to more furlough days, that's what might happen. So it's very difficult. Fortunately,
Thank you.
we need a superintendent that will
Thank
continue
you.
to work with the budget and the school board.
Thank you. All right, and Oscar.
Well, what I would do is try to keep the cuts as far away from the students in the classrooms as far as possible. The biggest thing when you have to look at cuts is really how the impact is going to affect where you're making the cuts. I've been putting this around my head many times, and if it had to come down to where you have no money and you have to make cuts, try to start with the simple things. And the idea I had is if you start cutting, keeping away from the classroom and students, but then again, if you have to make cuts, make it to some simple supplies that you can get partnerships from businesses in the area. Have them participate, have the parents participate, and bring those items to the classrooms and see how much of impact you can save, see how much you could bring forward and have them involved. The hardest decision is any cut that you have to make is a cut that's going to affect something. And if I have to cut anything, I'll try to keep it away from teachers, from students, from the classrooms, the simple things, the expenditures that we have to look at, and the vendors. what can we do to reduce those and bring partnerships in to offset those costs.
And CJ.
First, I would not cut teachers, nor would I cut their wages. If anything, the board would get with the superintendent, and we would spend some time together, a lot of time together, taking a look at everything before we make any kind of decision. I said earlier, one of the things that I would like to see a superintendent do is get with the businesses. And just like Oscar just said, if we get with businesses, they may be able to donate some things, therefore eliminating some type of cut. Not knowing what we would have to cut or how much money we would have to cut, I think if we were to get with the businesses and find out what they can do to help us, that would be the right direction to go into. Thank you.
And Mike.
One is checking the books, like I said before. My expertise is fraud, embezzlement, and theft. We might not be able to have to do cuts. I may find a lot of money that's being misspent, stolen, and so forth, and we'll recuperate all that back. If I'm going to start anywhere, it's not with the teachers and students. I'll start with the unions. We have a $300 million budget. They take about 40% of that budget, and it's ridiculous. I'm not going to answer to the unions. That's why I wasn't endorsed by the unions, because I told them the gravy train's over. You can't keep milking a cow when the milk's not coming out anymore. You just can't do it. We don't live in the good old days. It's different times now. And the unions care about the unions. They don't care about the children. And we have to put our children first. And I'm not afraid of the unions. They'll probably attack me after this statement, but I'm not afraid of them, and I'll take anybody I have to on face-to-face.
Okay. And moving on to question 7. The dropout level is rising. How would you help stem this? CJ, we're going to start with you.
Could you please repeat that question?
Sure. The dropout level is rising. How would you help stem this?
Well, first of all, we would have to get with the families. That's where everything starts, at the home. I think the teachers are doing a wonderful job, assigning homework, but a lot of the children are not doing their homework, and we need the parental help in those areas. Sometimes parents are too busy because they work and they commute, but it starts right there. Once we let the parents know the importance of what their part plays in educating their children, then I guarantee you they will participate, and then they will help their children to get better grades and to decrease our dropout rate.
Oscar, same question.
One of the reasons why we have a high dropout rate, and I think people don't understand this, is in Moreno Valley, we have a lot of foster children. We have a lot of children that are in homes that are continually on the move, and when they leave and they don't report it, they're considered a dropout. My goal is to make sure the communication is there to the parents, to the guardians, to the grandparents, to let them know how important it is that student stay in a community and stay in school, and if they have to leave, to contact their administrator and let them know why, so it's not considered a dropout, and so we can follow up when they go to a different district. If they are followed up at a different district and are continuing their education, they're not considered a dropout. So it's our job to make sure that we stay on that. I know we're looking at if you have to spend money on it, but if we could get volunteers or something, but it's our job to get the word out on how to keep that figure low and how to prevent the word dropout from happening on those forums. Thank you.
Okay. And Jesus, how have you helped to stem the dropout level that is rising?
The Moreno Valley School District has implemented recently various tools and technology that are being attractive to the students. And I think that's one of the things that we need to do. We need to have items in place that the students get attracted and they want to be in school. They feel that they are motivated to be in the classroom. And also, I believe that we need to bring back those areas such as sports, music, and all the extracurricular activities, and also all those other classes where they can learn skills so that they can get around in education. And I think that if we have those areas in place, the students will be motivated to be in school, and they will walk away from dropping out of school. But we also need to understand the many different problems that the families can have in Moreno Valley. One of those is the foster kids and the homeless kids. All those that are different problems that we need to really attack and work with the parents or with the families or with the guardians to keep the students in the system.
And Mike.
Motivation, motivation, motivation. We need to get the parents involved. We need to get the teachers more excited. We need to have a kid waking up in the morning and saying, I want to go to school, instead of saying, oh, I want to play a video game or something like that, where they get the fundamental tools that they need to learn and express themselves, listen to them, and be their mentors. The children need us as adults to better their future. And we have a huge dropout rate, and my goal is to leave no child behind or ignored. We need to target those kids that are failing and give them some extra help, you know, tutoring, whatever it takes, so they don't fail and they don't drop out, period.
And Jackie, how have you helped to stem the rising level of dropouts?
Well, first you have to understand your community, and you have to understand why children are dropping out. That's number one. So there is a disconnect, in my opinion, between the students we have and the communities that we serve, and the diversity that's in our community as well. So that's number one. And number two is, I believe in having liaisons, whether it's through the district office, whether it's at a school site, whether it's a community group. Those liaisons bring something to the district, and that is the knowledge of why the student is not interested or dropping out in the first place. And that is something I advocate and something that I'd like to continue.
Thank you. And moving on to question 8. While the state uses standardized testing to measure student success, how would you measure student achievement? Jesus, we'll start with you.
Well, that measure is not the only way you can measure the student success, but we need to bring the teams together and look at how the students are performing, how the students are testing, how the students are developing their skills in the classroom, and working together, the teachers, the classified people, the administrators, and especially the parents and the same students. We need to come together and establish the systems that we can use to measure their success, and then implement some strategies that are being used in those places where students are really excelling. And we need to apply those all over in the classrooms and the different levels. But it's not just a way to test the students and find out what the progress is. That's not the only way to do it. There are many different ways, and you need to consider all the different aspects of the student himself or herself and be able to see how the student is progressing to find out what the achievement is.
Okay. And Mike?
Can you repeat the
Sure.
question?
While the state uses standardized testing to measure student success, how would you measure student achievement?
The way to measure a student's achievement, like I said, if you get them motivated to learn and do what their teachers are saying. One thing is, I know my son attends Valley View, and he rarely gets any homework. I'm just wondering what's going on here. I can't evaluate him, and I don't know where he's at because I can't help him do any homework because he gets no homework. So with that being said, there's a lot of his friends that go to Canyon Crest, other schools that don't receive homework. We need to bring that homework back, because when I was in school, that was our major half of our grade, the homework, and I don't know where that homework's going. So I'd start there, and they learn more that way by getting homework. Thank you.
And Jackie?
Student achievement is measured through student participation. And to bring the participation out, one of the programs that we have is the AVID program. That actually measures student achievement. And if you look at programs like that and the students that participate in them, they achieve, and they do succeed in many aspects on tests. So those type of programs bring out the best in our students, and they're competitive.
And CJ?
Well, first we need student participation, and we need the families behind the students. The parents, the grandparents, the uncles, the aunts, everyone should be involved with the children and their scores, their grades, and their homework. When we do that, that child will be very, very happy when they receive their grades. Just the other day, my grandson met my wife and I at a football field, and he couldn't wait to show us his math grades. He had about 20 questions and he only missed one. He was very, very happy about that. But I will tell you, a lot of work went into that because his parents, my wife and I and his aunt, we all worked with him to let him know that he was someone and he was very important to us and we needed him to do his very best, and he did. Thank you.
And Oscar.
Student achievement is going to be evaluated in many ways, I believe. First one is, are they in the right classroom with the right teacher for what they are learning? Some children advance more than others, some less than others. Are they in the right class? Secondly, parent involvement. You could have a child at school who loves to do math, who loves to do reading, who loves to do science, but the minute they get home and there's no involvement there and they don't have any support, their achievement goes down the tubes because they're going to come back to the school system and they're not going to want to learn, because why should they when nobody cares at home? So to evaluate that is a hard one, but is to get the parents involved and to really evaluate, are they in the right classes they need to be in? Are they in the right system? And that is something that we need to look at. Then you can really see how student achievement is going to be, because one student may be achieving this way, another student will be achieving this way. They're not always going to be the same. Thank you.
Okay. And moving on to our final question for the evening. How can the school board work with its employee unions, especially in these tough economic times? Mike, start with you.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's one of the topics that I'm at. The way to work with the unions is make them understand that the gravy train's over. We can't get money out of a rock. I mean, it just can't happen. You can't squeeze it out. They have to come in negotiations with the school board and where they can make some cutbacks instead of giving them more money. I mean, right now, like I said, it's 40% of the budget of a $300 million budget for the year that they're getting, and it's time to end that. I understand a lot of people like unions, but they served their time in the past, and right now we have attorneys. If someone goes wrong with something in the school, a teacher hires an attorney. They don't go to the union, and it's time to change that around. Thank you.
Okay. And CJ.
Unions and non-union unions are all people. I've worked with people all across the spectrum, and I could work with any union person or non-union person. The thing is, I have to make in my own mind that I could sit down with a union person or a non-union person and achieve the goals that we're trying to achieve, and that's educating our children. If we can reach that goal, I don't care about the label that they have on them. That doesn't really matter. I would like for us to just sit down and talk and work it out and do what's best for our children and our students. That's it.
Okay. And Jesus.
I think the best way to work with the unions or employee groups is maintaining an open communication between the district, the administration, the employee groups, and also the community. And as long as that communication is open and everybody knows what is in place and what the expectations are for the students, for the employees, for the parents, and for the students, we can all continue working together and achieve better results that way. But the communication has to be there at all times. There shouldn't be any surprises when it comes to dealing with the budget or with the elimination of positions or implementation of new programs. If the communication is there, there would be better results. And you know, the one thing that we need to all keep informed of what is happening at the state level that also affects our school district. And we also have to be familiar with what is happening in our community that will affect directly the educational system. We need to reestablish the communication with the city, police department, and all the different agencies within the city and the community so that we can all work together with an open communication.
Okay. And Oscar.
I think the key word here is working with the unions, not working for the unions. They are vital in many ways. We need to have those discussion panels and make sure we're on the same page. If you're not listening to them, communicating with them, you're not going to get anywhere, because why would you work with them then? The whole point is you're working with the unions. They are some of the backbone. They are the teachers. And people forget that. Teachers are part of the union. Teachers are parents. Teachers are the ones that are taking our kids in the classroom. So we need to listen what the needs are. You have to ask questions. That is one of the big things that I do, and you can even ask the unions. I ask a lot of questions. I may not understand it, but I want to get to the bottom. Why is this being done and why? Not just to let it go. So again, the key word is working with teachers, administrators, CSEA, MVA, you name it. You need to work together. You do not burn your bridges. You need to make sure you're on the same page at some point so it could go smoothly. Thank you.
And Jackie.
Well, yeah, working with communication equals dialogue. There has to be open communication and there has to be dialogue. Right now we have what is called interest-based bargaining. In other words, when we bargain with both our unions, it should be for the best interest of our district and most of all for our students. And I think that is the best way to deal with unions across the board. And that's the open communication, the dialogue, and ultimately what is best for the district and our students. Thank you.
All right. And thank you, candidates. That ends our question and answer session. We will now begin the closing statements. You have the floor for 1 minute. We are starting in the reverse order of the opening statements. So, Jesus, we're going to go ahead and start with you.
Thank you. Once again, thank you for the opportunity. I am looking forward to continue serving my community for 4 more years, especially serving the children, the youth in our community. I have been had the privilege of being endorsed by the Teachers Association, and I'm ready to work with them, with the classified union, and with all the different stakeholders that have any interest in the education of our children. We have a lot of work to do, and I'm ready and willing to continue working within our city, within our district, and also at the state level, trying to find those additional funds that we need for the educational system in our community, and also bring in other organizations and other community members that are willing to help us in improving our educational system. Like I said, there is a lot of work to do. There's a lot of people in our community that have many resources that they can provide. We need that. We need to continue working together with the city, all the different agencies, all the different organizations, and the parents, and keep the focus on the education of our children. They are our future, and we have what it takes to educate them. So we need to work together for that purpose. Thank you.
And Jackie.
Yes. I'm just going to read a little bit from my statement. I will continue to be a leader you can be proud of. For the past 16 years, I have served as your school board trustee. I will not settle for mediocrity. I believe that the school, staff, and the community are an important component of the school and education equation. I continue to push students to excel in education while preparing them for college or a vocation of their choice. We must educate them to become fluent in math, English, science, technology, and engineering. And it goes on to say that I recently received, out of the 6 people nominated for Moreno Valley, the Distinguished Woman of 2010, and was given a certificate of appreciation from the city of Moreno Valley. And I'd like to thank you all. Thank you very much.
Oscar?
As a parent of twin 5.5-year-old boys, I want to make sure that when I'm on that board, that their education is the best education that is out there, that I am involved as a parent, that I am looked at as somebody that understands what is happening. I've been active for over 7 years before they were born, before we decided to have a family in the education process. If I were to have a different calling, if I would have known then what I know now, I may have became an educator. But this is my way of giving back, is being involved and making sure that when I am on that board, there is no agendas. There's no personal ideas there. It's about what is needed in this community. We know that when the children are learning, they're going to be very much benefactors of our community. They're going to be our teachers. They're going to be our businessmen, our liaisons, our doctors, whatever they are. They're going to be our community. I live in this community, I shop in this community, and I want to be a big part in the education part of this community because they are the ones that are going to make the difference. That is where we need to start. We need to start with our youth, and we need to be an active role in that as parents.
And CJ.
As I said earlier, I've lived in Moreno Valley for 32 years, and I'm very proud to be a citizen in Moreno Valley. And I'm also proud to be part of this great legacy that we've accomplished. I want to do some things on the board to help the city to grow. One of the things that I really, really care about is to ensure that this district is a district where any family would want their children to attend. Currently, some of the families have homeschooling. Some of the families have take their kids to Christian schools, which is okay. And some of the parents take their kids to other districts, which is okay. But I want to see all parents have their children go to school right here in our district, and I want that decision to be very, very tough for them. Thank you.
The last word goes to Mike.
I will bring new leadership, new vision, and end the status quo. The status quo needs to go. And with that being said, our children are our most important asset, and we always have to put them number one. And stop all this politics going back and forth, and just work together as a team and work for the benefit of our children, because they are our future. And that's what I plan to bring, is that leadership, that new vision, and end the status quo that's probably bring us all down with politics that don't seem to change. And we need change. We need something different. We need something that's going to work instead of just going on the same road, and that road's not working right now. We're on a one-way road, going to go into a brick wall, and we can't go that route anymore. So I'm going to bring new change and new vision. Thank you.
Candidates, thank you very much, and good luck to all of you. We thank you for joining us for this eighth of our 25 forums here on PE.com. You can also watch this in its entirety on demand at PE.com. And I want to thank Alan Hooper, our timekeeper, and our camera operator, Adam Drexler, and also the audience for attending today's forum. Today's webcast has been produced by Louis Amestoy, and please don't forget to vote on November 2nd and join us that night for a live election coverage on PE.com. For the Press Enterprise, I'm Carol Park.